chicken and sausage Perlo, or Pilaf, or bog, whatever you want to call it. Let's dive right in. All right, people, today we're going to make some chicken Perlo, aka chicken bog, aka Pilaf sometimes, or just whatever. Anyway, chicken, rice, sausage, one meal, done. So we are going to start with, I like to use kibasi, whether it's beef or turkey. I've been getting turkey lately just for less cholesterol and stuff. So, but I do like the kibasi better than the other smoked sausage because it's less, I don't know, we just like it better. So, but any smoked sausage is fine, whatever you prefer. These easy open peels hardly ever work for me, so we won't be doing that. We're just gonna do it that way. Ingredients: chicken broth, celery, garlic, onion, salt, pepper, rice, onion, sausage, chicken. That's it. Simple. So I like to start, my husband likes his sausages kind of charred, crispy-ish, black, carcinogenic, you know. So I cook my sausages and onions first because that's what gives you the color and the flavor in the whole pot. I don't think oil is needed. However, since these are turkey, they may produce less grease, but I'm still expecting some grease, so we're just going to start off with this and see. If I have to add oil, I will, but I'm preferring not to. You can always use a couple of pieces of bacon if you want. I do have bacon, but right now I'm saving that for a whole nother meal. So I'm not going to open my bacon right now just to get 2 pieces out. I have bacon grease, of course, you know, just about every Southerner does, in the refrigerator. But I'm just not going to add that extra fat right now. I don't see the necessity. I don't usually add it, so I'm not going to. If you want to, go for it. I've seen people add ham to their Perlo. Ham, bacon, whatever. You know, it's kind of a one pot, whatever you want to put in it. I've made one before with ground breakfast sausage, the sage breakfast sausage, with butter beans and cabbage in rice. And that was actually really good. It's almost kind of like a dirty rice. Okay, so we're gonna let that heat up, and while I'm waiting on that, I'm just gonna go ahead and start cutting my onion. I couldn't get Vidalia's, so I'm expecting a lot of tears on this, but it is what it is. Gotta have onions, so this onion looks semi-rotten. I'm gonna have to peel it and see what it looks like, because I might have to use get another onion out. I don't know about you all, but things just have not been lasting very long. See how it has that translucent-ish? I could probably essentially peel this one. Let's peel this one layer off and see what it looks like, but just everything's been going bad so fast. Or it lasts an exceptionally long time to where you feel like it's not normal. Like sometimes bread, you know, will last months without going bad. Then you get things like, I don't know, just fruits, bananas, onions, just molds and gets all that. I don't like that onion. I'm going to toss that and get another one. That was the last one from an older bag I had. This is the new bag. So we're just gonna play it safe today. Nobody needs diarrhea. All right. Supposedly, if you breathe in your mouth and not your nose, there'll be less tears. Also, rinsing it under cold water. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Helps a little bit. There really isn't much that helps though. It just, you know, is what it is. My main thing is to get it cut up and put in the pot as fast as possible and get a lid on it until it sweats down. And that will contain the tear-producing component a little bit. After it sweats down, it's not quite so bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss this in. Hopefully it's hot enough. Yep, got a little bit of sizzle. All right, that way we can get this sucker in there quickly. Get that lid on there, and hopefully that will sweat down before it makes me cry too much. All right, so that's all I'm going to do at the moment, so I'm going to pause it for a second. All right, let's see what our status is and give it a stir. So it is sticking to the bottom, but that's good. That's kind of what I want. But what I'm actually going to do is add just a little bit of water to make it steam rather than, I don't want to add any oil. So we're just going to add a dash of water, and that will kind of release that off the bottom there. Because my husband likes the sausages to have that little char to them. See, like that. He loves that. The more liquid you put in there, the less char you're going to have and the less color. I've known some people to add something called liquid smoke. No, kitchen bouquet. I think it's called kitchen bouquet. Gosh, I hadn't seen that in years. But I knew a lady that would add that to hers for the dark color. Okay, well, why add something funky when you could just cook it until you get that brown, you know. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add our salt. I have reduced sodium chicken broth, so that's how much salt I'm putting in. Don't like a whole lot because we just don't do the whole lot. Feel free to add more pepper. Even though I have onion in there, I'm going to add a little onion powder because you don't add a lot of different seasonings to this. So I'm going to add some celery. This is not celery salt. This is just plain celery. Not too much, probably, because I don't want it too pungent. I'm going to say, like, I don't know, maybe even just a quarter teaspoon. Not a whole lot. And we're going to add just a little bit of garlic powder. This is, I love garlic, but this is one dish I don't like too garlicky, so just going to give it a little, just a dusting. Dust it up a little bit. And that is it, my friends. We're going to have a can of green beans with it. I'm going to add some garlic to that, maybe even fresh garlic, I'm not sure. So for your broth, it's going to be, I have a 32-ounce carton, which is not quite going to be 4 cups. So I'm going to put it in here, and then I'm going to add enough water to bring it up to 4 cups. It's going to probably be missing it by about, I don't know, a quarter to a half a cup. But I want it to be an even amount so that when I put my rice in, I'm going to use 2 cups of rice. So I want to have the proper amount of liquid there. Stir those seasonings up a bit. I've got a nice good color going. I'll bring it over for a moment, let you see it. See, there's a nice good color going. When I get it as brown as I want it, which is pretty soon, then I'm going to, and I could probably go ahead and start measuring out the broth. I'm going to add the broth, and then I'm going to add my chicken and my rice at the same time. Reason is, I used to boil my chicken first, but I feel like it's going to evaporate a lot of the broth that I need, and I won't have the right measurement for the rice. And I don't want to wait that long. It's just too lengthy of a process in my opinion. So I put the chicken and rice in at the same time, and they're done at the same time if I cut my chicken in small enough pieces. Sometimes I have left them whole and the rice was done and the chicken was not, and that was an issue. So ever since then I start making sure my chicken is not too fat of pieces because I want to make sure they're done. Alright, so as you can see, this is very, very close to the this is very close to the 4 cup. So I'm really only going to need a smidge of water here. I'll also tell you, if you do not want your rice sticky and gummy, buy the parboiled rice and it will be fluffier, it won't be as sticky. Okay, so all that liquid, that little bit of water I added has evaporated now. I think this has a really good color. So we're now going to add the 4 cups of broth. All right. I am using boneless chicken breast today, but I do not need all of this. So I will be putting 2 of this, 4 in here. I'm putting 2 up, and tomorrow I am making either barbecue chicken pizza or homemade chicken tenders or something with the other 2, because we don't want that, don't need that much chicken in one meal. It's too expensive to not make it last, you know. Try to, I got like 2 big and 2 small here, so I'm going to split it up evenly. I'll cook 1 big and 1 small for each meal. Alright, so what I like to do, see how fat this is? I'm afraid that if I put that in there whole, it's not going to really cook right. So I'm just essentially almost going to kind of like butterfly it to make thin. I could just go ahead and cut it in chunks and not have to take it back out of the pan at all, and I may do that. Sometimes I saute it in there with the sausage. Didn't really think about that today, so I didn't. So, get some of this unsightly off. This like cartilagey stuff. Yeah, I think we'll toss that whole piece. I had to put my glove on, I forgot, but it's alright. It's actually easier to handle it if you have the glove on, because it kind of, you can hold it better. It doesn't, you don't slide off of it so much. Some people just don't like handling raw chicken. I don't particularly mind. So I think I'm going to leave this in. See, the problem is fishing it out to cut it in small pieces after the rice is cooked can be a bit tedious. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and cut it up. I should have sauteed it with the meat, I mean the sausage, but it's fine. It's really, you know, there's really no, some people like it shredded, and if you want it shredded, you'll need to kind of boil it whole first. But this is probably going to be more like chunks. That's fine. We're not real picky. Well, at least I'm not. I kind of don't like to cut raw chicken on my board here anyway. And I have a dedicated board for raw meat. So if you put it in there whole, then you don't have to worry about it. Then you can just take it out and cut it up. And if I were using a whole cut up chicken with all of the different pieces that were on the bone, what I would probably do is, I don't know, I would boil it first, maybe in just, almost in just water. And once that was done, cool it, take it off the bone. My dog's dreaming. You can hear him over there. You cool it and take it off the bone, and then I would use my broth. I wouldn't just boil it in the broth and hope that it was still 4 cups, because it probably wouldn't be. So if you want to use a whole chicken, or you want to use chicken on the bone, just boil it in water first maybe. It might lose some of your flavoring, but if you use a carton of broth, it won't really matter too much. I'm going to turn this up. Well, I still got a clean hand here. You want to get it boiling fairly quickly, then you're just going to turn it down and put a lid on it. But I still have to add my rice too, so I wasn't planning on cutting all this up, or I probably could have had it done already, but it's fine. So this is a 1-pot meal, but you do need a good, I don't know, at least 45 minutes to make it. I do like green beans and coleslaw with mine. Essentially, I try to put something green in every time I can, so green beans usually go well with this. Don't really have to have anything. A salad is good. Tomato cucumber salad is good with it. But we do the coleslaw instead of the, oh, there's a bone. My boneless breasts. Yep. Cut this big piece off. It's just part of that good old quality control we got going on these days with our food. See that big bone right there? It's a pretty good sized bone too. That's a bone. So I'm kind of glad I didn't boil them whole anyway after all. Because if there's ever a bone or a piece of grit or anything like that, my husband will be the one to find it and crunch down on it every time. A little bit of fat's okay. It'll cook down in and give it more flavor. I just don't want too much. I don't feel any more bones there. Actually, I don't know what that is. Alright, that's nothing. You gotta be careful now. They'll give you anything these days to throw it in your food. We get this at home. Imagine what you're getting in restaurants and stuff. Scary. That's why I don't eat out. I do all the cooking. Or my husband. My husband cooks too. We kind of share it. Alright, so I still have a clean hand here. I'm going to stir this even though I'm not going to use this utensil anymore anyway. 2 cups of rice to our 4 cups of liquid. And it's just about boiling, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump that in so that I can get this stirred up and my hands washed and put the lid on it. Put the lid on, and when it gets to a good rolling boil, then I'll turn it down to low. So I'll see you back in a moment. Alright, so we've been simmering for a bit now. Let's see where we are. Most of the liquid is gone, though not quite. I like to give it a stir. Even though my husband likes the brown bits that burn to the bottom of the pot, I still like to stir my rice in so that the layer on top makes sure that it gets good and cooked. Sometimes your top layer of rice can stay crunchy if you don't mix it around a bit. You don't want to take the lid off too much because you'll lose a lot of your steam, but there we go. Alright, so we're going to leave the lid on now until it's fully done. And now I am going to do my green beans, which you don't really have to watch. It's just going to essentially be opening the can, adding some salt and garlic, and that's it. They're going to be quite basic. So we'll come back in a minute when we're done with our finished meal. All right, let's eat. Is that a Perlo? My green beans, I used my handy dandy salt-free garlic herb I love so much, and a dash of salt. And they ended up getting a bit brown, so I added a dash of water to the bottom, so now we have a little bit of charred beans. He likes, I'm trying to scrape off the bottom for him. Yep. There's always a little layer of rice that kind of sticks to the bottom of the pot. See how it has that little brownness to it? It picks up the seasoning. He likes that. Of course, that usually only happens if I kind of forget and leave it sitting here too long. I didn't do that today, so... And I'll see if I can pick out any of the darkened sausages for him. When they sit here and cook in this liquid, they tend to lose some of their blackness that they've picked up the char from. Alright. Sure he gets plenty of chicken too. Alright, there we go. There's Daddy's plate, and he'll add his coleslaw to it. And we all like to put coleslaw on the top. That cool sensation, you know, with the hot food is kind of nice. And there we go. Minus the coleslaw, which I'm about to pull out of the fridge. All right, and if you recall, I've got the plain coleslaw for him here. I'm just gonna let him dish it out however much he wants. And then I have the ranch coleslaw here. I'm going to just put some on the top, right on the top of my Perlo. It's kind of like putting ketchup on hot fries. It just cools it off, you know. All right. And there is dinner. Daddy, eat.
Enjoy. On my way.
I wanted to show you, in addition to the 3 plates we made, that I have 2 leftover bowls of Perlo. There, that deep. My husband actually likes to eat this for breakfast, so that'll either be 2 lunches or 2 breakfasts or something for tomorrow. So it was very good. I will say that I do believe I like the basic coleslaw better than the ranch coleslaw for this particular meal, but they were both really good.